Thinking back to my first experience with beauty, definitely 6th grade. I remember I was younger than everybody because I had skipped a grade. My body was not as developed and I just kind of looked like I was still in elementary school. I never really thought about beauty or boys or like what I looked like that I can remember. Because I'm dark skinned, I was made fun of a lot. And it was like really weird for me because I didn't really know anything about skin color. I didn't really get the big deal. It had never been talked about around my house. Like, we just didn't talk about skin color. It just wasn't anything to talk about. But it was just a lot of different things, and I started to look at myself as not pretty because my skin was dark. And even though I didn't get the correlation, that's what it was for me. Moving into high school, I tried to stay under the radar. Like, I tried to stay behind people. I never wanted to be in the forefront. I just never really even saw myself as pretty. Like, I didn't really consider myself anything. I just kind of was there. And I remember when I got a boyfriend in 10th grade, and he was an upperclassman. He was like in 11th or 12th grade at the time. The funny thing is, even with me getting a boyfriend, I still didn't equate it to beauty. I thought that it was because of other stuff, like maybe they wanted me sexually, or I didn't really think I was beautiful. I remember being a senior in college and I started writing. It was very strange. One day I just started writing poetry, and poetry began to like kind of be my therapy, so to speak. And I would write poetry and I would stop hanging out with people. Like, I would be by myself in my room writing poems and expressing myself. And I honestly feel like seeing that part of me, seeing a different side of me, made me feel beautiful. It's kind of weird. I think beauty no longer became like a physical thing for me. It became like a internal thing. I felt like I could finally see like myself as beautiful, and it had nothing to do with my face. It had nothing to do with my body. It had nothing to do with physical features or my skin or whatever. It was more so just who I am felt beautiful. Getting married at 24, like, I don't think I was ever a woman who thought that I would get married or have kids. I didn't think about that stuff at all. I was just more consumed with like being who I wanted to be in life and being successful. And so meeting someone that loved me for me and all that good stuff, like, was great, but it wasn't like a big thing to me. And I had gotten to a point where I was like okay with myself. I loved myself. I thought I was beautiful, and I no longer needed a man to tell me that I was or was not pretty or beautiful. And so when I met my husband, Xavier, we were just friends at first, and then it moved into something more, and it moved into something more, and then we got married at when I was 24. Things didn't change, but things did change at the same time. I think I found myself like trying to be validated in what he thought, which was really interesting because I had gotten to a point where I wasn't, but then I got married and it was like, well, I want to care what my husband thinks about me. I remember just always feeling beautiful around him, always feeling like he thought that I was beautiful, but then there would just be times where I wouldn't be sure. When I first got pregnant, we had been married for a year and a half, and I got pregnant with my daughter, Brooklyn. I feel like being pregnant completely either enhances how you feel about yourself or it completely destroys it. You know, just growing, your body growing, your stomach growing, especially after you work so hard to be like real, like, you know what I mean, tight, cute. Your body growing and changing, just kind of like, for me, I will speak for me, like it kind of started to really bother me and like change how I saw myself. And then your mind shifts because it becomes all about like this child inside of you and this new role you have to take on. Your mind becomes consumed with being a mom. You kind of forget about like everything else that you are for a second, and your mind is just consumed with how you look physically, which is like different. You're bigger and clothes fit you differently, and then you're thinking about how am I going to be a good mom, and honestly other things just go away. You have to wrestle with seeing your face looks a little different. Maybe it's wider or puffier or whatever. Your clothes fit differently, and the concept of beauty kind of gets tested in that time, I think. You know, people would say stuff like, oh my gosh, you're carrying it great. And I honestly would hang on to every compliment because I felt like I needed it every single time. I had Brooklyn, lost a lot of my baby weight, was like getting adjusted to being a mom. And then 4 months after I had Brooklyn, I get pregnant again. I remember being a few months pregnant with my son, whose name is Malik. And I just did not like my body. I was getting big again, obviously, because I was pregnant. And I just did not feel good about myself. And I remember talking to a friend, and at the time I was complaining like, yeah, I just don't feel good. I feel like I'm big, I feel like I'm this, I feel like I'm that, I don't feel beautiful. And he was like, well, if you don't feel good about your body, why don't you do something about it? Like, why don't you work out, or why don't you eat differently, or whatever you need to do to feel good about yourself. I was like, well, I guess I either stop complaining and just see myself and love myself for where I am, or I change it. And I honestly feel like that was a really big time in my, like that was a really big moment for me. It was a moment I took control of what I wanted to look like and how I wanted to feel about myself. And I didn't blame it on anybody else, and I didn't blame it on being pregnant, and I didn't blame it on being a mom. It was like, in that moment, if I wanted to be something and if I wanted to see myself as something, I had to take control and do what needed to be done to do that. And so I did. I worked out, I ate healthier, but most of all, again, like it just kind of comes back around. That stuff made me feel good internally, which made me feel good externally. Like, I felt good about taking control of myself. I felt good about being a mom. I felt beautiful because I was getting back to me. I was doing what satisfied me. And I think now, being a mom of 2 kids, 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and having a husband and having a bunch of stuff that I try to do, one of the only ways that I feel beautiful is, one, I don't really look to my husband to validate me or to say that I'm beautiful. If he never says I'm beautiful again, I think I will feel beautiful, because I've learned that at the end of the day, he has an opinion and he has a lens and he sees me a certain way and likes certain things. But the way that I see myself matters more. If I wear an outfit and he hates it and I love it, guess what? I'm wearing it because it's amazing. I've grown to just love who I am. It's taken a long time. It's taken a lot of different things. It's taken me having to revisit myself over and over again and revisit the things that make me feel great, that make me feel like me. I still work out every day because I need that. Like, if I don't have it, I don't feel like me. And I do the things that make me love me. I don't let anything get in the way of that, not even my kids, unless I just can't help it. But like, I don't let that be an excuse, because I can't. And I don't want to lose myself and lose my beauty in the midst of trying to like be something or take care of other people. Or I feel like the way that I see myself, beautiful and healthy, helps my kids, like, because I'm able to be a good me and they're able to see a happy mom. And I hope and pray that I can pass that along to them, especially my daughter. Like, I can pass that along. You know, I think every woman wants to walk out the house feeling cute, like feeling like we're pretty and beautiful. But for me, it just was really internal. It was really like, okay, I feel like I'm beautiful on the inside, and that makes me beautiful, period. My name is Ifie Natasha Brandon, and I am a different definition.